What's going on, everybody? This is Brian here for WikiGameGuides.com, and I am here to present to you a preview for this weekend's upcoming EVO 2013 tournament, which is happening in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the world's premier fighting game tournament. It's something that people look forward to all year. It's something I'm looking forward to, especially the competitors. They get people from all around the world. This is a completely worldwide tournament. It's amazing. I'm being joined today by Matt. Say hi.
Yo.
He writes and draws a webcomic. Go ahead and quickly speak about it.
Yeah, I write and draw a webcomic called The Dreadful. It's on www.nuclearpower.com. You're probably more familiar with that site because of 8-Bit Theater, which I did the art for the epilogue of that. I'm good friends with the writer of that comic. I also did the art for a comic on that site called How I Killed Your Master, which is a martial arts themed comic. And I've been working on The Dreadful about 2.5 years, and it's fun. I don't get as many fans as I'd like, but it's still fun, and that keeps me going. So it's just it's just been a fun experience over these last few years.
All right, so are you as excited for this as I am?
Nope.
Why not?
I don't think I could ever be as excited as you are, Brian. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I know a person who's there, but you know, compared to you, you're like an 11 on the excitement scale.
I'm not. I want to be honest. I've only really started getting into this. Like, I've always kind of had an eye out for the big tournaments, but up until I think last year, I never really sat down and watched anything. And this year, like, these have pretty much become sort of an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah, I've noticed you've really been into them lately, fighting games and stuff. Ever since, I guess I started. I mean, I've been watching you on, YouTube and stuff for a long time, doing your Call of Duties or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really good. I'm just teasing. But, recently I started watching your streams and you were doing Injustice around when I was playing Injustice, since it's a fantastic fighting game. And, there's no sarcasm there at all.
Right, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, believe me, it's on the internet. It's always true. But, yeah, you've been kind of more into it, which is good. Fighting games are fun. They're the kinds of games that you really develop skills at, and, yeah, they're just, they have a lot of life to them, and I think they
do. To me, what I love that it's all one-on-one.
Yeah.
There are side things that go on, but it's all about, one person versus one person and who's got more skills. And, you might lose to someone early on. All these tournaments have 2 brackets, your winners and your losers brackets. And, there's so much strategy. There's a lot of cat and mouse. There's so much thinking that goes into it, and then on top of the thinking, you actually have to execute.
Yeah.
And, the way how people get into it to watch it, where people travel all the way across the country to play in these little regional tournaments, that the payout is just a couple $1,000s or whatever, which, might even only pay for the trip, but to watch people who are into something gets me into something.
Yeah. One of the reasons why, I like them, and I don't play them as much as I want, and I think the communities and the fighting game scene and skill level is such that you pretty much gotta shelf your other games and just focus on that, like almost like a second hobby or a first hobby, I guess, for some people, if you really want to compete. But you can still play them for fun. There's lots of, you can play with your friends or whatever, but if I try to get into something, I want to be really good at it, and unfortunately I can't.
Same here.
Yeah.
I love to play them, but I'm terrible.
Yeah, plus
just god awful.
Yeah, my internet's not great, and so I don't know, it just kind of hurts. I'm like, I can't do anything, so I just don't even want to play. You're all jerks, and I just trade them all in, and
Yeah,
just watch and live vicariously through people like Chris G or Justin Wong, and especially Chris G, because he mains a certain character in Street Fighter 4 that I'm kind of fond of.
Well, we'll have time for that when we get there. I used to really be into first-person shooters. I still am. It's still, my favorite genre because it's the one I've played the most. But
I like Doom.
As it comes to fighting games, like, these are adults. Like, it's adults playing it. It's adults who go into the tournaments. You watch the MLG streams, and it's fucking teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, I can't relate to them. I can't relate to, that playing with 13-year-olds online who are better than me because that's all they do all day.
Yeah.
And
hacks.
Yeah, it seems more mature. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not without its problems. There's definitely, like, it's very bro-y.
No,
I can't think of the last time I saw a female competitor in one of these, which is a shame, which I would love to see change. And there was the whole controversy with the Cross Tekken thing last year.
Yeah, that guy is a person who is a guy that is not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get into that because I'll probably get frustrated. I know he played Injustice as Deathstroke for a while, just to not, just to go into it briefly. So yeah, I know it had some issues. I heard about that too.
Yeah, so. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has its problems, but, it's... I haven't really seen a group of gamers who are as passionate about games as these fighting game people are, so I really, really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go through the games one by one. We've got a list here. This isn't the order of competitors, the amount of competitors there are, because as I understand it, Mortal Kombat 9 has the least amount of competitors at about 233, which of course the numbers will get higher, because you can always register to play, I think, a couple days ahead, and, it'll also go down a little bit because some people just might not be able to make it, because, when I say it's worldwide, I mean it's worldwide. Like, people fly across from Japan just to play Street Fighter.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Mm.
So the first game on the list is King of Fighters 13.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about King of Fighters, but what I do remember is last year's finals was between a dude named Bala from Mexico, and I think he was up against a guy from Korea. I could be wrong.
I've heard of Bala. Whenever I watched the EVO tournament last year, or it was 2 years ago. And they mentioned him a lot. I mean, I don't know much about it either. Street Fighter 4 is kind of the one I mostly follow. But, yeah, King of Fighters is really entertaining to watch. Like I said, I don't know. I don't really know who the top characters are or who the people are too closely. But, yeah, it's a really neat game.
Yeah, what's really unique about it is it's a 3-on-3 fighter.
Yeah.
But you can't tag, and each character that you knock out is a KO, and then you get a reset. It's the only game here that resets as much... Well, it's the only game that resets pretty much like that. So one character knocks out another character. The character that survived keeps his life bar and moves on, so you have a lot of knockouts.
Yeah, I've seen... sorry, go ahead.
So, like, you might get down to a situation where, one character will knock out two on the other team, or one might just run the table against the other three, or what have you. It gets really intense, especially when it gets down towards the finals, as, one character might be left against three, and then it might get really interesting. And that does tend to happen.
Yeah, I've seen it happen where someone will get down to their last character and come back and just beat all the others. One thing about King of Fighters, like you just said, you can't swap in and out of your characters like Marvel, so team selection, the order is really important. You have to, sometimes people will think, well, I want to pick a character as zoning, and then the opponent will be like, well, if he's going to pick a character that relies mostly on zoning, I'm going to try to pick a character that can break through that, so that'll be who their first character will be, and they just kind of have matchups like that. So you get down to the last fighter, it could possibly be a character who has just got a matchup advantage against the, all the his opponent's characters. So it can be pretty neat. It can be pretty dynamic that way, which is one reason why I like watching it so much. It's
You just used the term zoning. You're gonna have to explain that.
zoning is when you use projectiles and various other, like dragon punches or whatever, to keep your opponent in a zone of. Usually, it's away from you, like Ryu from Super Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter, whatever. His Hadokens and his Dragon Punches are real effective at zoning because he can just keep, throwing out Hadokens. And
yeah, that's the classic example that most everybody should be able to understand.
Yeah, Sagat is much better at it because he has multiple, high and low fireballs, and his Tiger Uppercut / Dragon Punch is, so he's so tall, so it's we're talking about Street Fighter, but yeah, it's a good tactic. Injustice has a lot of zoning in it. Deathstroke with his machine guns, Green Lantern with his missiles, that kind of thing.
Actually, the best one in that game, I think, might be Sinestro.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's off subject.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's King of Fighters. We're both going to admit that.
We talked about King of Fighters. Yes.
Because honestly, neither of us really follow it too much.
No,
King of Fighters.
I own the game, and I don't know that much about it. It's like I've played as a couple characters and tried their trials, and it's so hard, and it's. I didn't get into the nitty gritty of it.
Right. It's not a very American game. It doesn't really pick up the fan base here. It's a very international.
Yeah.
Game for sure.
But it's great. So if you are interested in EVO at all, you will have your pants entertained off.
Yes.
Wear extra belts.
Unfortunately, King of Fighters is the first final on Sunday, which is really strange considering how awesome it was last year.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. King of Fighters is like, I don't ever play it, but it's the most awesome game ever. It's like, well, why don't you play it? I can't. I just can't. It's too hard.
Yeah. So next up on our list, we've got Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
I like Tekken.
Tekken Tag 2, I believe, came out last year, so it's new in this year. It's a 2-on-2 tag game. Tekken Tag 2 is hard. I played a little bit of it. I didn't like it.
I'm not a fan of tag games, to be honest. I just like picking my person and just sticking with them. I don't like...
Yeah.
I like picking my waifu and just going from there.
It's very dependent on knocking characters up in the air and air juggling them, and then bringing in your secondary to do, really high combos. I don't really like Tekken Tag 2. The Tekken scene is not as lively as it used to be.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. I've as just purely 3D fighters go, Tekken, Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter. Tekken's always been my favorite. Virtua Fighter 4 was really, really, really good, though. I mean, it's one of the best fighters I think I've ever played. I know we're off topic again, but Tekken 6 was about as close, at least in my opinion, to that as a 3D fighter has gotten. But that's just my, that's just my opinion. A lot of people prefer Dead or Alive and stuff like that. But I've always really enjoyed the Tekken games. I kind of like how they play. I like being able to just kind of work in and jab people, do some normals, back away, that kind of thing. It seems real, I don't know if organic's the right word, but you can't, like, some fighters you kind of get locked into doing certain patterns, like, like zoning or whatever. The Tekken, it's like you can just step around everything and get right in there and just pummel somebody, and matches can be over in a flash, and I like that about it.
Right, and it is the only 3D fighter in here this year.
It is? Dead or Alive? I thought, wouldn't they have...
Nope, Dead or Alive is not in this year.
Oh, wow.
Yep, neither is Virtua Fighter, so yeah, it's the only 3D fighter in this year.
I guess that's kind of a thing that's passed. Wow. Huh. I was not aware of that. I thought Dead or Alive 5 had gotten in, but oh well.
It was in the running. I think it finished second. This don't quote me on this, but I think it finished.
I'll quote you right now.
Top 3 around Smash Brothers.
Mr. Brizzo's finished top 3 around Smash Brothers. I'm typing this into my Twitters.
So, after I've said that, a completely true statement which you can hold me to, we've got Persona 4 Arena. I played Persona a little bit. It's made by the people who made BlazBlue, so it's hand-drawn.
That game looks awesome. I want that game really bad.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it is the best-looking game.
Yeah.
It and King of Fighters, I think, are just outstandingly
but I
gorgeous
think
the way they look.
Persona even takes that a step above. I mean, it's...
Oh, no, it definitely does. Everything is hand-drawn. The gimmick for Persona Arena is the personas, of course. It's not really your characters that are fighting each other, but
yeah, it's like the RPGs, or the JRPGs. Those are fun, too. I really like those.
Right. Persona is a strange game. Out of all the games on here, I think it has the weirdest mechanics, how the buttons are laid out and what they do. It's really hard for me to explain because I only played it for a little bit. I was supposed to record the story, but then Atlas was giving out copyright strikes, so I sent it back to Gamefly and stopped playing it. I don't really care much for it. I'm sure it's great. There are people there who love it. It's in, so... people like it.
Yeah, people do. I've talked to some people who've played it, and they say it's, some of these games have some balancing issues. You know, it's like I'm going to start talking about Street Fighter 4 again. Like you got some characters who are just really, really great, and you have some characters who are bottom feeders who could, you don't even see in a competitive scene. I mean, you're not going to... If you see a Dan this year in Super Street Fighter 4... top 8 or whatever, that's just insane. It's just not going to happen, at least
right.
Now.
Unfortunately for most of these games, the longer they're out, characters get put into what they call tiers.
Yeah. Some characters always stay low, like Dan, T-Hawk, Chun-Li's really low in Super Street Fighter 4, which is odd. Some characters really fluctuate, though, like my favorite, she was middle tier for a long time, and now recently some stuff has been discovered and she's considered top tier.
Right, and
which makes me feel worse because I'm terrible. like I thought, for a while I was like bad. I was like, well, it's because she's middle tier. She's a hard character to learn. It's like, no, she's really great. It's like, oh, great. That means it's gonna suck more. So yes.
Well, watch your boy Chris play with him.
Yeah,
I mean, he really handled her really well at CEO.
Yeah, Sakura is. She's kind of like Sea Viper in the sense that once you get really good with her, you're really good with her. So she's about learning spending the time to learn the character. Anyway, Persona 4 Arena, I've heard, has a good balance. Like, there's really not bottom feeders. There's always, everybody's just kind of in the same, I want to say arena, but that'd be stupid.
And I think that has a lot to do with there only being 10 or so characters.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, I think an issue with fighting games that get too deep into a story is you get situations where they want certain characters to be better than other characters because that's how it is in the story, and it's like, no, it's a fighting game. You need to balance it. Like, Ryu's better than Dan because in the story Ryu is better than Dan. I mean, it's like...
Well, also because Dan was created as a joke.
Yeah, that's probably a bad example. Okay, Ryu's better than T-Hawk. There's not really the matchup advantage for Ryu or Seth or Akuma, who's like the best character.
Who I believe won last year.
Yeah, I think he beat... oh crap! The guy who was playing, who plays Adon, Gamer B, I think's his name.
I don't remember. I know that whoever was playing Akuma last year wrecked everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody did that Raging Dragon Super or whatever it's called against everybody. He hit it like 5 times in the top 8.
Yeah. So that's Persona 4 Arena. It's about Akuma and Mortal Kombat and Tekken and stuff.
Well, go ahead. Mortal Kombat 9 is up. Yeah. It's all you.
Mortal Kombat is a game that is not violent. It's about flowers, and it's a sweet game. It's good.
Why are there no fatalities in competitive fighting?
I don't know. I haven't. That's a thing that surprised me when I watched the MK9 tournament. They're like, remember one guy? I don't know who he was. He had long hair, but you beat a guy and they're, the crowd's chanting for fatality. He's like, I don't know any. I don't know. Maybe they're just things that people don't learn because they're for show and they're not really, you can't really put them into your match or game plan, so they just don't bother learning them.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I know there's an element of sportsmanship.
Yeah, that too.
To it.
That's what I was going to say. I think.
It's humiliating. Like I remember during EVO last year, like they made a big deal that somebody did a fatality to somebody, and they made a really big deal out of it.
Imagine if they did a fatality.
They're so rare. What sets Mortal Kombat 9 apart from all the other games on this list?
See, I think MK9's the biggest strength, at least in my, I played it a lot. The problem is I'm terrible at it because the character I decided to play as was Shiva, and she's like bottom feeder tier. Then I try to get good with Sub-Zero and Noob, which is basically Sub-Zero and Sub-Zero's older brother. And I kind of got, more into it and better. It's real solid. Like, it's simple, but I don't really know how to explain it. I don't want to say it's simple and has a lot of depth, but I guess that's a way to describe it. Like, you can do a lot of stuff, but it's not like Street Fighter or King of Fighters in the sense that the execution is just painful. You've got to spend 1,000,000 hours just learning 2 combos. You can really kind of get into it and, really just pound away at people and with your moves and your combos. No one's really loaded up with things, and all the fighters have their, real basic strategies to them, and I think a lot of Capcom fighter fans think, well, it's for casuals, it's dumb, but I don't think it is. I think there's an art to its simplicity, and it's just, I don't know, I just really appreciate it for that. It's like Injustice, but a lot better, because the mechanics are super solid, and it just works really well. If you, I wasn't even a fan of Mortal Kombat all that much until I played MK9, and then I was just played it a lot. So yeah. Yeah,
what I really like about it is it has that same sort of methodical play to it that Street Fighter has.
Mm-hmm.
Where at times it can be really slow, and at other times, when combos get started, it can go really fast. Yeah. Mortal Kombat 9 has the best damage modeling of any fighting game ever, especially, considering they brought it over to Injustice, but Injustice is rated T, so the models aren't that bad.
Damage models in Injustice is weird. I didn't really get why they put that in there. It's like, obviously Raven, it's like a chunk of her skin is ripped off. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, a lot of that had to do with DC telling them what they could and couldn't do.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 9, of course, has the fatalities, which you'll never see, and the X-ray attacks, which are
people probably
brutal.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of X-rays because the meter is so important. Like the in Mortal Kombat, you use the meter to add like Sub-Zero's. Why do I keep calling him Sub-Zero? Sub-Zero, his freeze. You add a little bit of meter, and it makes it. I can't remember exactly what it does, but it just makes it better. Not only that, but meter is also used for breaking combos, and
which is like the most important
thing.
Yes,
that's very important. I mean, I've seen matches in EVO just turn around just a split second. Someone gets pinned in a corner or whatever with a combo, and the person breaks it, and then they teleport out, and then I think that's why you see a lot of Kung Laos in Mortal Kombat, because he has that he has a teleport. And one thing about NetherRealm fighting games is that the projectiles fly through each other, as opposed to Street Fighter, where they, if they hit, they stop. That changes the zoning game quite a bit, because you can't just stand back and just start throwing stuff. You can, but if your opponent starts throwing fireballs at you, then they're just going to pass through and you're going to trade hits, which, I mean, sometimes, in some cases, that can be ideal, but others it's, a problem, because you have less health and you die first. So, zoning's kind of a little bit more complicated, I guess, which I like. But I also like zoning in Street Fighter 2, so I don't know. I just like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Their differences, I appreciate both of them. They're very nice games.
Unfortunately, Injustice seems to have cannibalized a lot of Mortal Kombat. The games look and play very similar. A lot of the people who play Mortal Kombat also play Injustice.
Yeah,
it's the same studio you would expect.
Yeah, it's like
as much. It's not like they're going to build a completely new game from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, look at Street Fighter Cross Tekken and Super Street Fighter 4.
Yes, pretty much the exact same games. All the movesets for those two games, especially regarding the Capcom or the Street Fighter characters, are all the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's Street Fighter Cross Tekken is, because of the Tekken people, they've had to really make some adjustments, which I don't think worked very well. But still, like you said, the Street Fighter people do play like Street Fighter people. They, Ryu's Hadokens work basically the same way and stuff like that. It's sort of like, Injustice and K9, they play similarly. Which is why it surprised me that they put Scorpion in Injustice, since
we don't have enough time for you to rant about this.
Okay. I won't rant about it. I'm just saying, because Batman has...
You hate it.
Yes, I hate it. I hate the idea. I don't hate Scorpion. I like Scorpion a lot. I just, with all the DC characters that exist, putting a Mortal Kombat character just seemed like a silly idea.
My stance on it was, if they were going to put Scorpion in the game, they should have put him in for free.
Yeah.
Because it only seeks to further their brand. If you were going to make another pay, the pay characters should only be DC characters.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I like Scorpion. And plus Batman had a grapple, and it'd be like them putting Sub-Zero in it. It's like, well, you have Killer Frost, Okay, is Injustice on here? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So let's move to Super Smash Bros. Melee.
This one will be short because I've never played it.
Okay, Smash Brothers is on because there was a charity drive.
Yeah.
And it raised the most money. Whichever game raised the most money would get in to EVO. They had 7 games. They had room for one more, even though Injustice ended up getting in later.
Yeah.
And there was some controversy recently over Nintendo making it so that the game couldn't be streamed. They turned around and changed their minds on that very, very fast.
Good.
Smash Brothers players only really play Smash Brothers. It's the Nintendo fighting game. It's the GameCube one, not the one that came out for the Wii.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if they're playing these on CRTs or something. Neither of us really know too much about it, but there is a hardcore Smash Brothers community out there.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Smash Brothers, and I know people who play it and really, really love it. It's just not a game I ever got into. I don't know if it's because I think it came out at a time where I wasn't really playing a lot of games. Like, there was a big chunk of time where I just was not playing games, and it just happened to fall into that, and I don't know, I just never got into it. It's no insult. I mean, I don't... It's not an insult to it. I just have, some people have never played Street Fighter or whatever, so.
Yeah, PlayStation All-Stars recently came out, and it tried to pretty much do what Smash Brothers does. But what they did wrong with PlayStation All-Stars was you can only knock people out under very certain circumstances. In Smash Brothers, once your health, like, you start at 0%, once you hit above 100%, like, any given hit can knock you out. So, like, Smash Brothers can get really intense.
Oh, yeah?
And it can really get down to, 2 people, going towards each other, backing up, and, whoever's gonna blink first is gonna lose. So Smash Brothers is really good for
it might be
getting
really,
intense.
Yeah, it might be really fun to watch, even though I don't know anything about it. I mean, I don't know anything about King of Fighters either, and that's always super entertaining, so. Alright, tune into that one.
Alright, so now we've got Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It says version 2013 because they did essentially what they did for Street Fighter when they updated it to version 2012. They patched it up and added in a whole bunch of new stuff. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is interesting because it's a tag game, but because even though you have two characters on each side, you only get 1 knockout. So you could technically get a perfect on somebody by just knocking out their first character, and the second one might never tag in.
Wow. Yeah,
which is
don't know.
Really interesting.
I don't know much about this game. I was kind of interested in it for a bit, and Sakura wasn't in it originally, so I was like, your money's thin, and you look for reasons to buy stuff. It's like, she's not in it, well, I don't care. And then by the time, they released her as DLC, and by then I was not, I was kind of not interested at all, so I never really checked into it. Though I have a friend who plays it a lot, and he likes to play Juri in Super Street Fighter 4, and he's happy about Cross Tekken because she's apparently really good in it. So he likes to play that a lot, and he's trying to get me to get the game so I can team up with him. But I don't know. I just haven't really. It's kind of one of those things where they tried to meet in the middle, and it took away a lot from what made both games great. Like Tekken is not a 2D game, and it's good because it's 3D, and they try to fit it in with Street Fighter, and it just I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work. I don't really.
Well, there's always hope for Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Yeah, I don't think that would work either. I think really the only, a lot of people talk about Street Fighter Cross Mortal Kombat, which would sell a bazillion copies, but I don't think that would work too well either. They're too mechanically different. The only well, I'm sure if I thought about it, I could think of some others. But the best game that met Street Fighter in the middle was Street Fighter versus SNK, which they had a while back. Because King of Fighters and Street Fighter play a lot alike. So I mean, there's the team aspect of it, but they're classic 2D fighters, and they don't really have to lose a lot to meet up in the middle. So I think that works the best. I mean, of team up stuff. But
so the biggest slam there is, and which I completely agree with Cross Tekken, is that it has a tendency to be boring. It's a game that's known a lot for players who play what they call footsies, where you just try and get in and do just a little bit of damage, and who can kick the other person the most. So Street Fighter 4, health bars take a lot to go down.
Yeah, unless you play Seth or Akuma.
Right, and so in Cross Tekken, now you have 2 of those health bars, and you have 99 seconds, so there tends to be a lot of timeouts.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever has the most health wins, and you'll see a lot of comments when the stream is on, that how boring it is, and here we go, we got another timeout.
Well, another thing I think about the Street Fighter Cross Tekken that kind of ruffled a lot of feathers is the whole gym thing, the pay-to-win type stuff.
Yes, I still have no idea how it works.
I don't
There's
either.
Something about gems and Pandora and...
Yeah, I don't know, but it seems silly. It seems like an unnecessary complication. It's almost like, how in... Well, crap, I'm talking about another game again. Marvel, you have the types before you start a match. You have A-type, B-type, Y-type, whatever. It's sort of like that, but not as fun. at least that's my impression. It's like, here's all these gyms, so pick the one you want, and some of them you automatically block, and some of them I don't even know what they do. It just, I don't know. Maybe it's not as much of a pain as I think it is. Maybe it's super great. I'm sure the people who love Street Fighter Cross Tekken probably want to kill me for saying anything bad about it, but I don't know. It just... A number of people I've talked to who've played it, they're frustrated by that aspect of it, and so I don't know. Like I said, that's just my impression. It just seems like something they just threw in without thinking about it. I mean, but yeah, I'm not a fan of just complicating things for the sake of just doing it. Gimmicks that don't really, yeah.
I guess I'll use that as a segue. Gimmicks will take us into Injustice, which came out this year.
Yes, and I've already traded it in.
It's my favorite game on this list. It's the game that I'm looking forward to the most.
I really liked it for about a week.
I think it's going to be the most interesting tournament this weekend, only because the game is still so new.
Yeah.
That anything can happen. A lot of people in the streams that I've been watching are waiting for, I keep hearing this so much, that they want a Harley to come through and win Injustice.
I heard she's not the best character.
She's not the best, but she's got such amazing corner combos. Like, she can do 50% easy.
Yeah, I can consistently do 48% with Raven. You know, that's who I always like to play as, which kind of makes me mad because, you know, I did enjoy playing as her, but Injustice, I don't know, I just never played it that much, and the DLC I didn't like how it was, and I don't know, I just felt that I could trade the game in and get some money back, and I don't know, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe in a month from now, I'll end up buying it back. That's what I did with the... I'm not even going to say. I traded in BioShock like a moron, and then I ended up buying it back. Like, I don't want this game, and then it's like, yes, I do. Why did I trade it in? And then I ended up buying it back like 2 days later.
So, the problem right now with Injustice is that people think they know what the tiers are. So top tier is your Black Adam, Batman, Superman, and Green Arrow.
And tiers are weird. I mean, you don't... And the thing is, tiers don't mean better character. They're just characters that have they have a matchup advantage over a greater number of characters. And just because Black Adam... I mean, okay. If a character is top tier, they have a better chance of beating, a character's lower tier, in theory. You could still... I mean, it's not an end-all, be-all guide. You know, everybody has their various opinions of what tiers are. Although there are in some cases, like Akuma and Dan, where it's obvious Akuma is a better character. But I think in a lot of cases, especially when you get like top to about middle, it's kind of open to skill. So it's pretty dynamic that way. So like you said, people have their idea about the tiers, and so early on in the game's life, it's just kind of weird that everybody's just saying, "Oh, Superman top tier." It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess.
I doubt we'll see it, but I never see anybody play as Lex Luthor.
Hawkgirl.
Yeah, nobody plays Hawkgirl. Like, all these characters still have strengths, and the game is still so fresh and still new that we could see some surprises. Right now, I mean, Chris G is the early favorite.
Yeah. Green Arrow.
He plays Green Arrow. He knows how to handle him. Green Arrow's got a really easy super to pull off because his trait, he can hit you with a freeze arrow and then hit you with the super.
Yeah, the traits are kind of a neat thing about that game. Some people I know don't like it, but I didn't have a problem with them. I didn't think they...
As long as they're all useful.
Yeah.
If the Injustice will be super interesting and unpredictable this year. I'd like to see how it changes going into EVO next year, and see like who has, because by this time next year we'll know who's the best, who everyone plays as. Like like Street Fighter, for instance. You take the top players in the world, you know who they play. Yeah. You know who they're going to use. Injustice is still on that stage where when I was watching CEO, like people were playing matchups. They weren't playing their mains. They were playing who they thought would have the best chance to beat the player they were playing against. And the game's still in its infancy and has a long way to go. So it's going to be interesting, and it'll be on all day Saturday, and the finals will be on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think even though I kind of poo-poo the game more just to tease you.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I didn't hate it. I just wouldn't play it, and I don't know. I traded in. So like I said, maybe I made a big mistake. We'll see. I'll watch EVO and I'll get back into it maybe.
Well, if the matchups are good, trust me. If the matchups are good and exciting,
Raven will end up winning. I'll be like, God, I could have been.
During EVO last year, when I was watching the King of Fighters final, like I had Amazon open and I had my finger over the buy button. All it takes is, I'm telling you, like these games are good enough to make you want to play them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why. Wait, no, it isn't. Never mind. I was gonna say that's why I played Resistance, because I saw your LPs, but I saw your LPs because I was playing Resistance 3. So never mind. That's a bad example. Get us anything.
All right, we'll move on to Marvel.
Marvel, yeah, Marvel. That's a game that everybody can follow along easily.
It's the second most popular game. Marvel has always been really popular at EVO.
It's fun to watch, even though I have no idea what's going on.
Last year, Filipino champ won. This year, Chris G's probably going to take it. He plays a team of Morrigan with the Soul Fist, Doom, and Virgil, and he's beatable.
Yeah,
but
it's hard. I mean, Morrigan.
He starts with Morrigan. It is relentless.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know why he started playing as her. Maybe he just likes her, but you know, a lot of people I know of, they really like having that Phoenix out there. You know, Phoenix is her thing. Is she's really really good. Like she's really good with meter. Well, a big thing in Mortal Kombat, Marvel is building meter, and certain characters can do a lot more with it than others. And Phoenix, when she has a maximum meter and she's the last character in the game, and her health goes down to nothing, she can get Dark Phoenix, and that just wrecks everybody. I mean, there's like, if you're super good with her, and you can do that, you know, you're just gonna own everybody. But Morrigan's thing drains meter. So if Phoenix doesn't have any meter to work with at the end of the match, she's not very good at all, because her health is super low, and you know, she relies so heavily on that Dark Phoenix thing. So I think maybe that could have been his theory. I don't know, but that Morrigan thing where she can drain that meter, that's I played as her for a while, and yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, I didn't get super into Marvel, but I played it. I played it a lot more than I did Injustice, and I played it some online with a friend of mine, and we just kind of would randomly select most of the time, just you know, because I didn't know a super lot about it, but you know, sometimes we pick our people who we like to be, and yeah, you can do some pretty good stuff if you kind of know what you're doing, which I guess is anything. But even still, I mean, that game's so intense and crazy that you know what you're doing, and you just kind of have to roll with it and just hope it works out. Because unless those guys can follow along, which that's amazing stuff.
Yeah, so if you've never watched Marvel before, the most popular characters are Magneto, Sentinel, Doctor Doom, Virgil.
Yeah, my friend, he played Magneto, Doom, and Phoenix.
Yeah, these characters are staples. For some reason, there's almost no Street Fighter characters picked. Like, there will probably be no Street Fighter characters in the top 8.
No, I doubt it.
Which is strange, but Marvel's main draw is it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There are so many infinite...
Yeah, sorry.
there's infinite combos, which the game pretty much relies on, and there's so much going on the screen at any given time. And watching it for the first time, it's really easy to get lost. Like, you really have to sit down and watch a couple matches to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, that was a game... Oh, okay, good. Now that you mentioned that, that was a game I bought because I watched it on EVO. You know how you talked about earlier with whatever, I can't remember what. Yeah, I did. I saw it at first when it first came out. And like, this game's crazy. I'll never ever want to play this game ever. Then I watched EVO, and then I think it was a match with Justin Wong. I think it was him. He was playing as Iron Fist, who was like the worst character in the game, and he almost, I don't know if he won or he almost won. It may not have been EVO. It may have been some other local tournament like SoCal Regionals or something like that. And then I saw another guy playing who was playing as Frank West, who was also apparently really bad. And I don't know, just something about it was watching people who knew what they were doing play it really sold it to me, and so I got it. I got it when I got King of Fighters 13 actually, and I played it quite a bit. So, and I even bought the Jill Valentine DLC the day I got the game. She's actually a fun character to be. So, yeah. You still there?
So yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just letting you go.
All right, yeah, it's cut out for a second. I wasn't sure if you were still there, if something was going on.
No, I was just being quiet, letting you go. Yeah, so that's pretty much Marvel. It's crazy. Just because one person's down to one character means nothing. They've got a big glowing X on their screen. They can take you out.
Yeah, they got that X factor.
Super fast. So you know how things are going really means nothing.
Yeah,
people will tend to put one of their stronger characters in that third slot, just in case things are going wrong. You know, they'll knock you out really fast. So in Marvel, it's not over until its screen says KO.
Yeah, no kidding. And different. You know, we talked earlier about King of Fighters 13 having the team dynamic. Marvel you do pick your team order based on matchup advantage, but you can. I think it costs a meter. You can like if you want to get rid of Phoenix because you don't want
Yes,
back
yeah,
up,
you can snap them back.
yeah, you can get them out and start beating them up. Also, you can swap. You can call in your team for assists. Like if that's how a lot of the huge combos are built. You'll do a few moves and then you'll call in your teammate and they'll kind of juggle them and then you'll keep going. And so,
right, and then you reset your combo and then start over.
Yeah.
And this happens a lot. And it looks really cheap, but trust me, it's all just a part of it. Everybody knows. I mean, in most games you would think that was cheesy, but in this one, it's how you play.
It's balanced out too because if you screw that up, your partner I think takes twice as much damage if.
It's what they call a happy birthday when you can do a combo and hit your opponent's character they have on the screen and one of their assist characters. You can even do tons. You can mess them up real bad.
Yeah, that's kind of cool about it. That's the way it balances it out.
Right. So Marvel's going to be on second to last on Saturday, and when Marvel goes on, trust me, everyone who's there is going to be going fucking nuts. Because Marvel is one of the... Okay, this is the thing, they call it hype, right? They say, get hype, or that was hype. Hype is hype. When Marvel is on, people are just going bananas, because it's so unpredictable.
Yep.
And trust me, if Chris G is going far, people are going to be rooting against him.
Yeah.
Because his Morrigan play
nice guy.
is... Like, I root for him for the most part, but I root against him in Marvel because his Morrigan play is so boring to me that, like, I don't want to see him win that. I want to see somebody else be more exciting. It's like a team that beats the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like, you beat the favorite.
Yeah.
You have my loyalty now.
I just want Chris G to win at Super Street Fighter 4 playing as Sakura, so...
Go for it. Talk about Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4 is finally a game that I know almost a little bit about.
It is the final. It is the big daddy of all fighting games.
It is the hype of hype. It is the... Yeah, it's the thing.
Hopefully it'll be better than last year, because last year's finals were boring.
Yeah, I think that people are... the tiers have kind of... Once again, I hate saying tiers, but it's changed. People have found out a bunch of new stuff like Sakura and Adon is in there, and or Adon, however you say his name, Jaguar Tooth. Adon, Jaguar Tooth, that guy. So yeah, it's a lot seems to have changed. You still have Akuma and Ryu in there and Cammy, but you just kind of get more characters popping up, and so yeah.
Right, you see the occasional Zangief, Balrog.
I think that's just because so many people play it constantly. I mean, it's aside from just the lowest bottom feeder tier characters, Rose and T-Hawk and whatever. You really see a wide variety of everybody. I mean, although I have a friend who's playing in it, and I think he might be in Vegas now, getting ready for it. He's gone there to play Skullgirls, but. And Dive Kick, but he's signed up for Street Fighter as well, and he plays Jury, and his first matchup I think is against the guy who plays T-Hawk. At least that's what his scouting report has indicated. He's trying to get me to help him kind of train online. I need to get to doing that. So I'm apparently a master at T-Hawk since I aced all his trials in like one attempt. But they're easy, so it's kind of a joke. I mean Sakura, who I'm a big fan of. I did a little comic about her on Capcom Unity, which got plugged, and Justin Wong liked it, and so that was pretty neat. I've played as her for a few years. I'm not great, but I'm okay. She's a real rushdown character, which are characters I like. And that's kind of one other thing about Street Fighter that's good. They have a lot of well, I guess all fighting games have that flexibility with the characters. You have zoners, rushdowns, I don't know the word for it. I don't want to say lame, but people who just kind of sit back and just real patient, wait for away from people who make mistakes. You know, like the kind of thing charge characters do. I guess they call them turtles or whatever.
I'm not
Lamers,
sure.
I don't know. It just I know my friend who plays Jury really hates when I do that, so I do it all the time. Like I like being Borrow too, and I'll just sit there and just wait.
Yeah. So like Street Fighter is I mean it even says it here on their page. It's the main event. You'll watching it like Marvel is fucking like Animal House. With the crowd, and then when Street Fighter will come on, it'll be like super respectful because like Street Fighter is like the granddaddy of all fighting games,
king and queen.
Yeah, and so like people come from all around the world to play, and there's a real aura of respect for like the Street Fighter top 8. Like if you're top 8 Street Fighter, you are one of the best fighting game players in the world. It's not even like we're one of the best Street Fighter players. Like you'll be considered one of the best. Period. Because in order to get in top 8 Street Fighter, you've beaten
a lot of people.
Yes, there are so many people sign up for Street Fighter that pools start on Friday and pools go on Saturday, and the top 8 is very last. I'm sure they'll bring fucking Seth Killian out there again to do the commentary. Like Street Fighter gets all the best, it gets the main stage, it gets everything. So like Street Fighter, unless something crazy happens, which, I mean, would be nice if, like, Daigo pulls one of his crazy-ass, Ryu maneuvers or what have you. Like, Street Fighter will be, relatively quiet, but it'll be amazing to watch, because Street Fighter is just, really technical. It has its own pace, and, Street Fighter is tense.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of worn out from all the stuff we've been talking about, so it's like I finally get to the game that I know a ton of stuff. It's like there's so much stuff to talk about, I don't even know where to begin.
Right. The good thing about Street Fighter is Street Fighter's been around forever, so people know what it is.
Yeah, they kind of had a little, when Street Fighter 3 came out, they kind of not lapsed, they changed it a bit. They changed it up. They added parries, they added target combos, which are in Street Fighter 4 to a degree. Like Makoto has a bunch of target combos, Ibuki does, Ken actually has a few, which is kind of weird, but they, at least I'm pretty sure target combos were a thing of Street Fighter 3. I didn't play a lot of Street Fighter 3, I played a lot of Street Fighter 2, and I played quite a bit of Alpha, and then, Street Fighter 3 rolled around, and it's like they changed too much for me, and I got out of it, and then Super Street Fighter 4 was something that I got and just really got into because I liked playing as Sakura, and I had some friends online who play it too, and it's like you said, it's a lot like the old games. People who are into the old ones can pretty much pick it up.
Yep. If you even watched anyone play the old ones, you can watch it now. It's just the art style is a little bit different. That's
they added some stuff. They added a super meter. They added focus attacks, which is you press the 2 medium buttons and you can either you can, like, if someone's attacking you, you press the focus buttons, you'll kind of block the attack and then hit them, unless they use a breaker, like I think we use Dragon Punch. Is if someone's doing a focus attack, it'll break right through it. The focus attacks absorb 1 hit. So if you're like, you anticipate someone's going to attack you, you can hit that button and you'll focus attack and hit them. But if they anticipate you're going to try to do that, they'll just throw out 2 quick jabs and your focus attack won't do anything. I did that to you a lot when we played.
Yes. I'm sure the people who are watching this have seen it a number of times.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. I mean, Street Fighter 4 is so everywhere that if you want to know what it's like, just Google it, YouTube it. Yeah. You gotta find a million matches.
There's nothing going on this Sunday night. You got no excuse to not watch this.
I follow a guy. I think his name's Konstantinos182. He plays he mains Sakura. He's from Greece. Kind of started talking with him once I kept watching all his videos, trying to learn from him. I learned a lot of stuff from him, and he was talking about how things have changed so much with Sakura, and how he's worried that once the patch comes out in version 2013, they're gonna change it.
Is there going to be a 2013?
Yep, they've they've talked about it on Unity. Actually, they've kind of
Oh wow.
yeah, they've gone over some stuff about what they might change. Nothing specific yet. You know, which is kind of, I don't know. It seems so late, but I guess they're still. I mean, there's still a huge, fan base for it. I mean, it's the main event at EVO still, and pretty much has been since it was released. So I mean, I don't see why they just let it go if they could help it. So,
Yeah. Unless, of course, they've got 5 in the works.
yeah, I think they probably do.
I bet they do.
Yeah, I hope, as much as I like the game, I hope there's some stuff I hope they don't do. I hope they don't radically change too much. A lot of people like, to change it up. Just add some new stuff. And it's like,
You mean like Hadouken's gonna be a quarter circle backwards and kick?
Well, not really that. Just mechanically, just like the EX games or Street Fighter 3. They added a bunch of mechanics that were, real hard to, at least in my view, to get into. I mean, like I said, I didn't play it much, so I don't know. I've heard that once you got into it, it was real deep, but I don't know. They took Street Fighter 3 took a lot of the old characters out. I think only like Ryu, Ken, Akuma, Chun-Li, and maybe even Bison were in Street Fighter 3. And I think all the rest were new people. Which, I guess it's alright, but people get used to playing certain characters and you just radically change the roster. It's like, I think I'll just stick with Street Fighter 4. I mean, because it plays fine.
Well, there's a underground Street Fighter 3 community out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who get into it do really like it, but it's definitely at least I think the black sheep of the series. I mean, not counting the EX games, which, yeah, the EX games were Street Fighter's attempt at 3D, first attempt at 3D. They did not do well. So they also had.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up here because we're about an hour. You have any predictions for what you will see or anything that you would like to see? I don't know how much time you have this available this weekend, how much you'll be able to watch, but anything you're looking forward to? I just
hope that in Street Fighter 4, Chris D plays Sakura and he does really well. So, because she's my favorite character, and I mean, prediction-wise, you can't predict anything. It's like any sporting event. I don't follow it enough anymore to really have make much of an educated guess. So, I mean, I don't know. They'll be fun to watch regardless. That's one good thing about it. I mean, if you're into video games, you're into fighting games, even the loser brackets are really entertaining.
Scrap the fighting game thing. If you are into video games,
yeah, the level of skill.
Tune in this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a skillful play to the extreme with an X.
Like 3 of them.
3X, yeah, triple extreme. Although, yeah, like that movie with Vin Diesel. Imagine Vin Diesel's just throwing up fighting games that are on fire. And, yeah. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, it's extreme. There was that movie that he was in a long time ago.
Yeah, Triple X.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's really.
So that's EVO.
Yeah, that's it. That's just our preview. I mean, we are not the most educated people in the world, but
no, I'm very uneducated.
If you were interested in it or have never even heard of it, I mean, just go ahead and give it a shot. I promise it'll totally be worth your time.
Yeah, you'll find much more educated people out there than us. So
yeah,
this might inspire people to check out others.
Yeah, give it a shot. I mean, for this, they go all out. They've got a hotel ballroom, and they get the best commentators that they have for each game. And the people who are speaking about it know the game. Like, they made a mistake a couple years ago by bringing Adam Sessler in to do the Street Fighter finals, but I mean, they quickly rectified that.
Yeah.
If you want to learn, you want to see, you want to do any of that stuff, just tune in. It's all. They've got 3 streams on Twitch. You can subscribe, but it's completely optional. If you subscribe, all that money goes to funding scholarship.
That's good.
So that's all optional. But yeah, any final thoughts?
Not really. I've kind of exhausted my thoughting here. So no, I don't just. I hope I have some time to watch it. I definitely like to see King of Fighters and Street Fighter 4, and like you said, Smash Brothers is. I don't know, but you kind of sold Smash Brothers to me, so I might have to tune in for that. Plus, it's on Twitch. I can always watch it some other time. I mean, when I watched EVO 2012, I didn't watch it live. I watched it a long time after it had, you know, at least I don't think I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't live, no. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to add that I can think of.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. This is actually like the first time you and I have actually ever spoken before. I hope I remembered to put our Twitter handles in the video. I'm at Mr. Brizzo. He's at M Speroni.
Yep.
I'll be tweeting about EVO all weekend. I'll be hiding in a Twitch channel somewhere because the channels will probably be sub only.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough to chat about it, but I'll put something in the description if any of you guys want to hang out with me this weekend and watch some games.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I did okay. It's my first time recording anything, so.
I did just fine.
Okay, good, yeah.
Just fine.
I wasn't even worried my microphone would work, or I wasn't even sure my microphone would work very well, so, yeah. Alright.
Alright, well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for joining me, Matt, and
Sure.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great day. Adios.